Appreciate you tuning in, Real over on X. That is why we show up here every single day. Good. Let's carry on. Live over on X says 0 views. Well, my friend, that makes at least one of us, because you had to be watching to type that comment. Thanks for bumping the numbers. Let's keep it rolling. Welcome to the Tom Sense Show. We have got the news moving fast this hour, from major border enforcement deals to total panic among the Washington establishment. You can put your questions directly to me right now at any point in the broadcast, either in the chat on YouTube or over on X, and I will take them right in the middle of the news as we roll. Just bring something worth answering and leave the noise at the door. Let us get straight into it. The Trump administration has officially sent its first flight of 20 deportees straight to Liberia, kicking off a major bilateral deal to send up to 1,200 third-country migrants to the West African nation. This is part of a massive, quiet effort involving roughly 24 repatriation pacts negotiated with foreign governments, including around 10 across the African continent. Love you right back at Common Sense 144 over on X. Thank you for being on the air with us today. Love it. Okay, picking up where we left off. Naturally, the usual immigration activist groups and non-governmental organizations are having a complete meltdown. They are crying that these individuals are being removed to a country where they hold no citizenship and have zero family ties. But the administration is standing its ground and defending the move as an essential deterrence tool to shut down unauthorized border crossings and clear out endless court backlogs. For years, open border lawyers thought they had cracked the code by telling illegal crossers that if their home country refuses to take them back, America is forced to keep them forever. The Trump administration just found the obvious answer, which is that a one-way ticket does not require a local family reunion. The legal challenges are already grinding their way through the federal appeals courts because activist lawyers believe entering America illegally gives you the right to pick your own customized luxury zip code. If breaking our immigration laws meant you were guaranteed to stay in the United States until your home government felt like cooperating, every country on earth would just close their consulates and let us foot the bill. That loophole is officially closed, and the message at the border is finally clear. The Democratic National Committee has officially narrowed down its shortlist for the 2028 National Convention to 3 cities: Philadelphia, Boston, and Denver. Party bosses are bragging about hotel capacity, massive arena setups, and strong union infrastructure, while party strategists argue about the map. They are trying to decide whether it is better to shore up the crumbling blue wall in Pennsylvania or try to boost Western turnout in Colorado. City officials and business groups in all 3 locations have already submitted bids promising millions of dollars in private fundraising and heavy security coordination, with formal site visits planned for this autumn. It is fascinating watching the party try to pick a backdrop that hides the real-world results of their own policies. If they pick Philadelphia, they have to navigate a city struggling under soft-on-crime policies where businesses are fleeing downtown corridors. If they choose Boston, they get to showcase the sky-high cost of living and crippling energy mandates that are driving working-class families straight out of the Northeast. And if they head out to Denver, they can celebrate a city that broke its own municipal budget, trying to house thousands of non-citizens. The party leadership is desperately searching for an arena surrounded by enough high-end hotels so their donor class never has to look out the window of the actual city they govern. No matter which of the 3 they pick, the host committee will spend tens of millions of dollars just trying to keep the cameras facing strictly inside the arena walls. Over at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, an official press event took a wild turn when base security forces detained invited reporters and visiting military personnel at gunpoint. An unexpected security alert was triggered near an active launch complex, and the security team did not hesitate for a second. They drew their weapons and enforced immediate containment protocols on the spot. The credentialed journalists and service members had to follow armed orders and sit tight for about 30 minutes until the base commander sorted out the paperwork, verified their clearances, and de-escalated the scene. Nobody was hurt, not a single shot was fired, but the legacy press and congressional watchdogs are in a total uproar over how rough the treatment was. Space Force officials have now opened an internal review to figure out the communication breakdown and why invited guests were treated like hostile intruders. While the media is whining about hurt feelings, the base security guards were actually doing what base security is paid to do when an alert sounds near sensitive rocket infrastructure. If an alarm goes off near a multi-billion-dollar military launch facility, secure the perimeter first and check press credentials later. The mainstream reporters who constantly complain that military installations are too secure are the exact same people who would run 24-hour specials if an unauthorized person walked onto a launch pad. The paperwork got messed up, the guards did their job without firing a shot, and the journalists got 30 minutes of experiencing actual military discipline. Down in Florida, Democrat-backed candidates managed to flip control of the Sarasota County School Board, unseating the conservative Moms for Liberty majority that had made the district a national symbol of parental rights education reform. Left-wing and progressive groups poured massive resources into an off-cycle race, campaigning against state-mandated curriculum changes, high-profile book removals, and administrative friction over teacher retention. The newly elected board members will take their seats next month, promising to roll back recent policies and focus on classroom stability. Conservative groups rightly pointed out that low off-cycle turnout allowed an organized union coalition to undo hard-won transparency measures. This is a very clear, very loud wake-up call for the America First movement across the country. The left never sleeps when it comes to local government, and school boards are their primary pipeline for controlling the culture and shaping the next generation. When conservative voters turn out in presidential years but stay home on quiet local election days, the teachers, unions, and political activists walk right back into power. Parental rights do not maintain themselves automatically just because you won an election 2 years ago. The moment parents stop showing up to the ballot box, the education establishment reclaims the building and gets right back to putting institutional control ahead of families. If you want to protect your kids, you have to vote in the school board races every single time, not just when the White House is on the line. Leadership at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts has told a federal court that it will pause any plans to put Donald Trump's name on the building until a preliminary injunction hearing on September 8th. This is all part of an ongoing legal fight between historic preservation groups, representatives of the Kennedy family, and administration allies who ordered the signage added after major federal renovation funding. The plaintiffs claim that altering the exterior of the memorial requires explicit permission from Congress and violates the institution's original charter. Justice Department lawyers pushed back hard, arguing that the executive branch has broad discretion over federally funded cultural facilities. The Washington cultural elite is completely losing its mind over a block of letters on the side of a building. These are the same institutional gatekeepers who happily accept hundreds of millions of dollars from American taxpayers to keep their concert halls running, but act as though the name of the man who secured the funding is a cultural disaster. If the Kennedy Center wants absolute, untouchable purity from presidential politics, they are welcome to return the federal renovation grants and fund their private ballets entirely on private ticket sales. But as long as working Americans outside the Washington Beltway are footing the construction bills, the federal government has every right to manage the facility. The hearing is set for next month, and the establishment is terrified of losing its exclusive private playground. Federal prosecutors have submitted a court filing arguing there is no serious dispute that an online post by former FBI Director James Comey could be interpreted as a credible threat against Donald Trump. The whole case centers around an image Comey posted online showing seashells on a beach arranged in specific numerical patterns that critics argued resembled a veiled threat. Comey's defense lawyers filed motions to throw out the entire grand jury inquiry, crying that the post was completely harmless and that investigating ambiguous imagery violates the First Amendment. But government lawyers argued in their brief that the context and timing fully justified an active grand jury investigation into potential threats against a sitting executive. It is incredible watching James Comey suddenly discover a deep, passionate love for strict civil liberties and the First Amendment. This is the exact same former FBI director who spent years using vague theories, foreign dossiers, and leaked memos to justify intrusive federal surveillance of Donald Trump and his entire team. When James Comey was in charge of the Bureau, a casual conversation in a coffee shop was enough to launch a multi-year national security investigation. Now that prosecutors are reading his own cryptic public posts with the exact same level of suspicion he used on everyone else, his legal team claims examining weird online patterns is a dangerous constitutional overreach. He built the standard of treating subtle hints as federal crimes, and now he has to sit in the room while someone applies it back to him. That is the news this hour on the Tom Sense Show. Keep your heads up, stay sharp, and we will see you right back here next time.